עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויושבי תבל באמרו
שלום, טובה וברכה, חיים, חן וחסד ורחמים, שים 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 שלום, טובה וברכה, חיים, חן וחסד ורחמים.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha, may peace, goodness, and blessing come to all of us, certainly, all of the world, and especially our brothers and sisters in Israel and also in Palestine this evening as we celebrate Shabbat together. I want to just give a little credit to our wonderful musicians who you heard, Chava Mirel, May We Find Peace, and then Sim Shalom with Nava Tehila, or in this case particularly Daphna Rosenberg and Yoel Sykes. So we say Toda Rabbah to them for lifting up our spirits as we begin this Erev Shabbat together. Shalom, Rabbi.
Shalom and Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you as always. I love watching people wish each other Shabbat Shalom in the Facebook chat. So please do that so that we know you're with us and so that we can greet one another. And we are going to jump in and begin with Shalom Alechem. And I'll share my screen with the words to all of you.
Yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, ya da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, Shalom Alechem, Malachei Hasharet, Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon, Bimelech, Bimelech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh, Baruch Bochem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon, Bimelech, Bimelech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh, Baruch Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon, Bimelech, Bimelech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, Tzedchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malchei, malchei, malchei elyon, bimelech, bimelech, malchei amlachim, hakadosh, baruch hu, hakadosh, baruch hu. One more yadai, yadadai, yadai, yadai,
There they are. Hi, Miller Clan. How are you? Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
So this Shabbat, we celebrate Molly Miller becoming bat mitzvah, postponed a year. And so we're going to invite them to light their Shabbat candles, and I'm going to spotlight them.
You want to be in?
We already did it.
All right, and are we going to?
Ready for prayer, Rabbi?
Sure.
All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'neder shel Shabbat. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We are going to continue in a moment with Lecha Dodi. Before we move into Lecha Dodi, I want us all to just take a moment, take a breath, to center yourself, to be present, to lift the weight of the world off of you for a moment. And now to reflect on your week, to go back to last Shabbat, to spend a moment on each day, its challenges and its blessings. And then to take another breath and be present in the moment. A little time for reflection. We will sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, I encourage you to turn yourself toward the door to your home, to welcome the Shabbat presence, the Neshama Yetera, the extra soulfulness that travels with us during Shabbat, into your home and into your heart.
Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat lehekabelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat lehekabelah. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Ishmeanu El Hamyuchad Adonai Echad Ushmo Echad L'Shem U'Tiferet V'Litchila Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 b'nei Shabbat lehekabelah. לקראת שבת לכוונך כי מקור הברכה וראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במקשה תהילה לך דודי לקראת קלה יללה 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 בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה יללה 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 בני שבת לקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שדברי כבוד אדוני עלייך תגלח וכדודי לקראת קלה יללה 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 בני שבת לקבלה וכדודי לקראת קלה יללה 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 בני שבת לקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה יללה 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 בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה יללה 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 בני שבת לקבלה
I'd like to invite Molly Miller back to lead us in Chatzi Kaddish, which is on your screen or on page 26 for those who have a regular book at home. Go ahead, Molly.
Yikadal, Yikadash, Shemay Rabba.
Amen.
Now, Maldi, Rocky, Teve, Amrik, Malite, Lehaya, Hom, Yom, Hom, Lukaidi, Kobe, Israel. Bagilal, Bagilal, Rubizman, Karib, Nimeru, Amen, Beheshme, Rabam, Hara, La'al, Umal, Yomaya, Yipara, Yipara, Yipar, Vit Ramavi, Nase, Vit Hatar, Vitale, Vitalo, Shemay de Kudishal, Riku, Leila Minkol, Birta, Ishiratai, Tush Behata, Benet, Temata, Amira, Nimeru, Amen.
Amen.
I'm supposed to do this one.
Molly, I'm going to have you just read Baruch Hu, Hebrew, and then English.
Baruch et Adonai Habarach. Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Praise Adonai to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai to whom praise is due now and forever.
Thank you.
Oh, am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I aware? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Yada dai dai dai, 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 dai 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 dai.
Last three lines in the Hebrew.
El Chai v'kayam tamidim l'chaleinu l'olam va'en Baruch ata Adonai
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
Amariv Aravi.
Amen. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu leolamim Baruch ata Adonai Oev amo Yisrael.
All right, Molly, come on back. Thanks. Just going to read tonight, just going to read Shema, first Hebrew, and then English.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivor, Mali Tolei Olam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God, glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Continue with Ve'ahavta. I ask Molly to lead us once again. There you go.
Adonai Elohecha, V'kol v'kukum nafshecha, V'kum elodecha, V'hayu hadevarim ha'ele, Asher Elokim etzavecha, V'baha v'da'at ba'am, Ishitaha Beteha, Uvektaha Vaterek, Ukshleha, Ukumeha, Ukshartam Le'od, Al Yadeha, Vayulitafo, Beineneha, Ukhatam, Al Mizizot Beteha, Uvishareha, Lamantis Kerut, V'asitem ekom sutat item kedoshim lelehem oni Adonai asher otze Meretz Mitzrayim, Korahem, Elohim, Ani, Adonai Elohim.
Adonai Elohim.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
Thank you, Molly. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together.
Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nora tehilot osei felek. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nora tehilot osei felek. Malchutcha ra'uvanecha, ke'am livnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Eli anu, ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nora tehilot osei felek. Nora tehilot osei felek. Nora tehilot osei felek. V'ne'emar ki v'hadar Adonai et Yaakov ugalo ve'ad chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai gal Yisrael.
Amen. We ask God to watch over us and to protect us, to let us lay down with a sense of wholeness and peace, rise up with a sense of purpose each day. Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha.
We give thanks for Shabbat, the pause that it gives to our week, the opportunity to reconnect to our deepest selves, to our community, to our God. Join in singing Vishamru.
Veshamru b'nei Israel et hashaban lasod et hashaban lidorotam berit olam beini uvein b'nei Israel oti leolam oti leolam oti leolam veshamru b'nei Israel et hashabat lasod et hashabat lidorotam berit olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz veshamru b'nei Israel et hashabat lasod et hashabat lidorotam berit olam Uv'yom hashvi Shabbat feinafash, Shabbat feinafash, Shabbat feinafash, veshamru b'nei Israel et hashabat lasod et hashabat lidorotam berit olam.
Molly, you're going to be up just a second as we move to our Amidah. Those who are in a place that it's comfortable to do so, I'll invite you to rise, and we try to create some holy space around us as we move into our Amidah. We'll chant Adonai Tzvatai Tivtach, and then the first, Molly will chant the first two blessings, and I'll chant the third blessing. So we'll do that together. Then we'll have some time for private prayer and reflection, and then we'll have some music from Dr. Randy Polivoy. So take it away, Molly.
Adonai Sekateti Tofi Agi Tehilateha Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rahel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagador Ha'gibor V'Amra El Hayom Gomel Hasadim Tombi Ikonei Hakol Izoser Sefovim Aro Umafiyula Nen Matsuma Va Melikozer Yokia Umagin Baruch atah Adonai Magin Avraham Yisrael Sarah Tagi Bor Leolam Adonai Mikayeh Kol Atah Rav Shia Morid Hatal Mikakel Hayim B'Chesed Mikayeh Kol Atah Rav Shia sorry Shemek no female have only say and not told the shane afar Mika Moka Balgiro Mulam Melek me to Mikael Tom Hakol Baruch Atah Adonai.
Amen.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
Ha'el HaKadosh.
Amen.
Please take a few moments for a silent prayer for the text of your own heart. Shabbat Shalom, Dr. Talvay.
Shabbat Shalom to everybody out there. I'm just going to say a few words of introduction. The American composer Raymond Smollover, whose dates are 1921 to 2015, so quite recently, just 6 years ago he passed. He wore many hats. He was a cantor, a voice teacher, an opera director, as well as a composer of Jewish theater and liturgical music. One of his most famous students, incidentally, if this name means anything to you, you Broadway buffs out there, Richard Kiley, who was the lead role in Man of La Mancha on Broadway. That was his student. Smollover served as cantor for more than 40 years at Congregation Kol Ami in White Plains, New York. The silent meditation, Yehiyu Leratzon, which many of you are very familiar with, which we do every week, translates, "May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer." This text has been set many times by various composers. And this particular setting by Smollover is a kind of two-way dialogue, or a subject and response, you might say, between a soloist and an ensemble of voices, which you will hear in the piece. So this is Raymond Smollover's "May the Words of My Mouth," or Yehiyu Leratzon. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. There we go. It's waiting for my own face to come up on the screen there. And it's good to be with you. This week's Torah portion is Bamidbar, in the wilderness. And it is the name of the portion. It also, in many ways, feels a bit like just where we are. So I want to share some words of colleagues and others and my own about Israel this evening. I want to give special call out to my colleague, Rabbi Tom Alpert, from whom the structure of the sermon is taken. For the past several days, Israel and Hamas have been firing weapons at one another. And this is different from the several conflicts between Israel and Hamas in the past, because Hamas has been gearing up for this fight and stockpiling weapons that have given it much more striking power than ever before. In a report that it issued yesterday, it said that it had fired well over 1,000 rockets into Israel. And the Israeli Defense Forces yesterday released a map, a Google map with red dots marking where warning sirens had gone off during a half-an-hour period. And the map was almost solid red from Gaza as far north as Hadera, which is halfway between Tel Aviv and Haifa. And during this this period of attacks from Gaza, sirens sounded in Jerusalem as well. I read a post by Rabbi Stacy Blank, a Reform rabbi in Israel, and it describing her family's experience in Jerusalem. She wrote, "I chose on Jerusalem Day to preserve the daily routine of my kids, so I did not participate in the distribution of flowers by Jews to Palestinians in the Old City and East Jerusalem, led by Tag Meir, which is an organization devoted to visiting victims of attacks by right-wing Jewish extremists. Instead," she said, "I sent them a donation to support the effort, and I picked my kids up from school. Then I returned with the 7-year-old to our first school event since Corona, which coincided with parent-teacher conferences. And the kids played games and the parents chatted. It was a joyous reunion. Then I took my son to the community center for judo. While he was inside, I started a Zoom call with a family from the US who hopes to hold a bar mitzvah in Jerusalem next year. People were organizing a blood drive in the yard. Then the siren started. We all looked up at each other, hesitated, and then our instincts kicked in. I disconnected the conversation. I walked quickly inside the building. Someone shouted to everyone to go down the stairs to the bomb shelter. I waited for my son to come out of the judo room. I took his hand, pushed through the people who were just standing there, and went down the stairs. I called to people to follow us downstairs. The bomb shelter was open. We all went inside. The kids asked, "Is this real?" They were too young to remember the summer of 2014, and I felt my post-traumatic stress kicking in. I couldn't make phone calls, but my text went through. I texted my husband to get in touch with our other kids. My daughter was still at basketball at the YMCA. My son was biking home and was in the middle of the street with no building accessible. But my husband spoke to him and told him what he needed to do if in such a situation again. We acknowledged how scary it was. After the azakah, the alarm had passed, my son returned to judo. We go on. Afterwards, we spoke about it. Why were people sending rockets? There have been wars in the past. Some people want to make peace and work to live together. Some people want to continue the wars. This is what they do. Our country knows how to protect itself, and we all do our part to keep each other safe. And as we reflect on the experience of people, of Israelis throughout the country in bomb shelters and worrying about the safety of themselves and their families, it's important to remember that our compassion must extend to Palestinians as well. A Palestinian parent whose child has been killed in an Israeli attack isn't going to focus on whether Israel was justified in its attack on Gaza, and our compassion goes out to all. My teacher, Rabbi Daniel Hartman, he writes of his service as a tank commander in Lebanon in 1982, of his anger at the protesters back home who were condemning the war. "Not now," I shouted, as I felt their legitimization undermining my resolve. But then he goes on, "Part of me still accepts this protocol. It is important to reaffirm the validity of the Israeli narrative that Hamas, like Hezbollah and Iran, will only be satisfied when the last Jew is either in the Mediterranean Sea or back in Europe. We are at war with an enemy devoid of basic moral standards, a terrorist organization for whom any suffering of their citizens is legitimate as long as some Jewish blood is spilled. For Hamas, victory is measured by the extent of pain they can extract and not by any strategic advancement they achieve for their people." That said, Rabbi Hartman continues, we cannot allow protocol to stifle serious reflection and even self-criticism about the policies we enacted, which, though they were not the cause of the missile attacks, nevertheless did contribute significantly to the effectiveness of Hamas's move and to the violence between Israeli Jews and Israeli Arabs. History has shown us that when criticism is delayed until tomorrow, one often forgets and one finds oneself aligned with the comforts of the status quo instead of one's aspirations. And so we find ourselves, Bamidbar, in the wilderness. And this war is new for reasons beyond the strength of Hamas. Lod, near Tel Aviv, is a city with a mixed Jewish and Arab population who have lived together mostly peacefully for a long time. Starting on Monday, Arab rioters attacked Jews, set fires to cars, and burned a synagogue. And Jewish extremists were also attacking Arab Israelis in Lod and elsewhere. Social media captured Jewish mobs chanting death to Arabs and vandalizing Arab-owned businesses. On Wednesday night, Israeli television showed a crowd of extremist Jewish Israelis beating a man thought to be an Arab in the coastal city of Bat Yam. The TV reporter on the scene characterized it as a lynching. Reuven Rivlin, president of Israel, warned of a civil war between Jews and Arabs. And so we find ourselves in the wilderness, and we need to be moving toward a promised land in the promised land. In this week's Haftarah, we are no longer in the wilderness, we are in the land, but it is not as promised. The prophet Hosea has a new promise from God. I will make the valley of trouble the door of hope. These are actual names of places in the Emek Achor is today the Valley of Trouble is near Jericho. And later, the Valley of the Door of Hope became the city of Petach Tikva. But here Amos is saying we're going to move from a difficult place to a different place, to a place of hope. You know, war affects so many. The poet Yehuda Amichai wrote, the diameter of the bomb was 30 centimeters, and the diameter of its effective range about 7 meters, with 4 dead and 11 wounded. And around these, a larger circle of pain and time. 2 hospitals are scattered, and 1 graveyard. But the young woman who was buried in the city she came from, at a distance of more than 100 kilometers, enlarges the circle considerably. And the solitary man mourning her death at the distant shores of a country far across the sea includes the entire world in the circle. And I won't even mention the crying of orphans that reaches up to the throne of God and beyond, making a circle with no end. So how do we move from trouble to hope? Well, perhaps it's about acting with hope. Yesterday, at intersections throughout Israel and in mixed towns like Abu Ghosh, residents, Jewish and Arab, came out standing together at major crossroads, gathering to protest violence and racism, calling for a better future. And Hosea tells us what that future will be. Bayom hahu, on that day, umilchama eshbor min haaretz, I will remove war from the land. I will remove war from the land. Members of Rabbis for Human Rights in Israel are putting those words on their Facebook profiles, on the banners. Bayom hahu umilchama eshbor min haaretz, on that day, I will remove war from the land. Putting up the banners won't remove war from the land, but not insisting on the possibility that war can be removed means that war will be our condition forever. And we cannot believe that. We must believe that the door of hope never fully closes. How do we make that a reality? It's certainly not easy, because it requires a lot from many. But let me go back to what was written by Rabbi Stacy Blank, writing from Jerusalem. She's talking about driving in her car. And then came on the radio the principal of the Ort High School in Lod, at which Nadine Awad, a Muslim girl killed by a Hamas rocket, was a student in the 10th grade. The principal spoke in perfect Hebrew. She spoke of Nadine apologizing for the cliche as an outstanding student who participated in science competitions and cooperation between Arabs and Jews, whose sister is a teacher in the school. She described her as a young woman proud of her Islam and seeking to help people connect with its exalted principles. She said, tonight is the holiday eve of Eid al-Fitr, but there is no holiday for us. She called upon everyone to take responsibility. She said, we have no other land. We have no other city. We have to make sure there is a future for our children. Rabbi Blank continued. Then my tears began to flow. Then the sobs came. I was barely able to drive. For a week, still Rabbi Blank's words, for a week, I am seeing and reading about escalating tensions in Jerusalem and throughout Israel and the Palestinian territories. Today was the first day I heard about someone speak about collective responsibility. We're all responsible. It's almost impossibly hard work being all responsible, but only almost. It must be possible. We read earlier from our prayer book based on Michael Walzer's teaching that the only way to get from here to there is to pass through the wilderness. There is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Shabbat Shalom. And may all those who are frightened and injured and worried about themselves and their children, about the violence that surrounds them, may they soon know peace. Amen.
To our Israeli siblings, we send you a virtual hug this night. So many of you are huddled in bomb shelters, trying to keep the little ones calm, trying to
What happened?
To our Israeli siblings, we send you a virtual hug this night. So many of you are huddled in bomb shelters, trying to keep the little ones calm, trying to still the images of the night sky, lit up with rockets fired to kill and instill fear.
Please excuse me, I had a little problem, but I think I can fix it now. Apparently, Rabbi, I'm not able to share my screen for some reason, even though I do the right things.
It was playing fine, but then it got stopped.
Oh, okay, because I'm only seeing myself.
Oh, it's on. Just
Yeah.
keep it playing.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm going to start it one more time.
To our Israeli siblings, we send you a virtual hug this night. So many of you are huddled in bomb shelters, trying to keep the little ones calm, trying to still the images of the night sky, lit up with rockets fired to kill and instill fear. We say to you, our Israeli siblings, Anachnu itchem, we are with you. We can't know the intensity of your fear, but we pray you will feel the intensity of our love and solidarity. In our evening prayers each night, we say, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, spread over us a canopy of peace. We pray with all of our hearts that the Holy One will keep you safe throughout the night and into tomorrow, and may the days ahead be calmer, better days. Baruch atah Adonai, shomer amo Yisrael ad. Blessed are you, God. You watch over our people Israel now and forever.
So those were some words from Rabbi Rick Jacobs a few nights ago, directed toward our Israeli community, to our brothers and sisters in Israel, and even more specifically to our Reformed Jewish community in Israel, offering words of support and of comfort. And we link our hearts to one another and sing prayers for peace. So with Shavuot coming up on Sunday night, means we only have tonight and tomorrow to count the Omer. So I'm sharing that with you right now because I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer.
הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר.
Blessed are you, Holy One of blessing, who makes us holy through mitzvot and commands us to count the Omer.
היום 48 יום שהם 6 שבועות ו6 ימים לעומר.
Today is the 48th day, which is 6 weeks and 6 days of the Omer.
We move to Misha Berach.
Yes, 253. There we go.
Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu Yevarech Et HaCholim Elna Refana Elna Refana La Elna Refana Elna Refana Lo.
We ask for blessings upon Rebecca Gilman, Bela Pasternak, Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Toback, Paula Steinbach, Rosin Lefkowitz, Ellen Weinfeld, Gabrielle Silton, Pam Koliakoff, Connie Shapiro, Kathy Blumenfeld, Gloria Austin, Caitlin Antrim, Judith Bosworth, Kathy Brewster, Stephanie Holland, Jennifer Rudin, Susan Brewer, Ed Ansell, Marion Snyders, Kimberly Zimmerman, Lori Snyder, Brad Holland, Isley Holland, Mike Klein, Beatrice Caden, Meg Silton, Henry Gerard, Kirby Perkins, Brenda Found Gerard, Serena Postal, Bobby Kay, Marilyn Freeman, Robert Strober, Ava Bespris, Marilyn Lubarsky, Joe Kummerman, Shar Alpert, Carol Sage, Flo Cohen, Ira Quatcher, Ellery Einstein, Ken Mitchell, Patricia Kramer, Joey Kubel, Ann Hudson, and all of those in your hearts and that you mention in the chats as well.
Elna Refana Elna Refana La Elna Refana Elna Refana Lo.
I'd like to call upon Dina Benjamin, our Temple Beth Israel president, to share some announcements with you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom and greetings from the Board of Trustees. We welcome you all and we're glad you chose to share Shabbat with us. We offer our gratitude to Rabbi Kupitz for leading our service tonight in sharing his thoughtful wisdom about the situation in Israel, to Cantor Bush for beautifully leading us in music and prayer, and to Dr. Randy Polavoy for sharing the ethereal music of Raymond Smollover. I want to also thank Molly Miller and her family for their participation in tonight's service. Molly will be celebrating her bat mitzvah tomorrow, and we offer her a hearty mazel tov. We have an abundance of events coming up in the next few weeks, all of which are in your weekly temple update emails, but I will highlight just a few of them. This Sunday afternoon at 2:30, the women of TBI invites you to join them when they present a program about Shavuot. Then on Sunday evening at 7:30, join our clergy and special guests as they celebrate Shavuot with a program of study sessions and conversation. Monday evening at 8 p.m., we will kick off our online auction and shopping spree. Please join us for that throughout the entire week, culminating on Sunday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. with a fun and entertaining live auction. And finally, you should have received an email about our first in-person service since last year, to be held on Friday, May 21st at 7:30 p.m. Please check your email for more details, which includes COVID safety guidelines and Eventbrite links. Registration will open this Sunday at 9 a.m. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat of peace.
Thank you so much, Dina. Thank you for all that you do every day to strengthen our temple community. Anything that you needed to add to that, Cantor? Or did you cover the important things there?
I did want to just say one thing about tomorrow morning's Leiled Minyan with Rabbi Rachel Axelrod. It will be online. There is information about that in your TBI update. So check that out. And we will be here also on Monday for a 10 a.m. Shavuot morning service, as well as Zoom Siyum and Shavuot Havdalah at 6:45 p.m.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Cantor Bush. So now we're going to turn toward the conclusion of our service with Aleinu and then Kaddish and then a closing song, and then stick around for Kiddush and Motzi. So I am going to put the prayer book back up and get to the right page. And we continue. You can rise if you're in a comfortable position to do that, or rise in spirit for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabech l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמן והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Sorry there, I had a little computer delay. Didn't want to turn the page, but it did eventually. So now our thoughts turn to those who have died in recent days or at this time in years past. And those who we remember for yortzites as well at this time. Remember the recent deaths of David Tobias, husband of Virginia Tobias, of Alicia Goldfarb, wife of Howard Goldfarb, Arnold Roth, husband of Shelley Roth. Remember the yortzites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Gertrude Kenny, Roy Premack, Bessie Rosenblum, Rosa Schwartz, Ronald Zwelling, Claire Blitz, Marvin Botwin, Martha Cherry, Leon Fink, Rosa Lee Fox, Benjamin Zalman Ginsburg, Louis Greenberg, Ruth Kelber, Pauline Levine, Leslie Ruby, Robert I. Rudin, Norman Shaw, Scott Serkin, Melvin Aberman, Marvin Cohen, Sylvan Coulter, Blanche Marcus, Robin Pavlovsky, Benjamin Adelson, Ann Kaloff, Benjamin Meckler, Dr. Jack Herbert Block, Sadie Bosworth, Joseph Kalig, Herman Gozansky, Shmuel Hyvey, Dorothy Litwack, Bertha Namus, Robert Tandit, Benjamin Weinstock, Lori Ruth Abers, Garrett H.A. DeLange, Leonore Grauman, Ronald Lasky, Sylvia Mune Butel, Jacob Radoff, Ida Siegel, Miriam Ziskraut, Dorothy Bain, Sadie Brown, Pearl Cohen, Samuel Fenton, Joseph C. Ginsburg, Beatrice Kaplan, Aaron Harry Katz, and Rosalind Katz. We also remember the recent death of Garrett Talvay Hill, son of Arava Talvay and Tom Hill, and a recent death in our larger community of David Schaflo, who died suddenly at a young age. We send our heartfelt condolences to them as well. We join in the words of Kaddish, add the names of all those that we hold in our hearts to those that have been mentioned. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba v'yalma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabam v'rach l'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dukudasha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be for a blessing.
Yado av kidruchi, Eini shan ve'a'ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira. My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. Be'yado av kidruchi, be'erishan be'a'ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai ולא יירא, ואם רוחי גוויתי, אדוני לי, ולא יירא.
If you have a cup of juice, whoop, my camera's not on, sorry. If you have a cup of juice or wine, you can grab it. Hi, Millers, good to have you with us. And we will.
Hey, everybody together, okay? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikrayei kodesh zechar l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha'shabbat l'chaim.
Chaim. If you have a challah, you can grab a little challah.
Molly goes first.
All right, and we will join in Hamotzi. Go ahead, Cantor Paul.
We want to give a real special shout out to all those challah delivery on our challah delivery crew today. There was a lot of challahs to distribute, right?
Yep, today and yesterday.
Okay, so let's one more time with a nice Baruch. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon Shabbat shalom.
B'te'avon, Shabbat shalom. Pull the challah.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. You were great.
See you all soon. Thank you so much for being with us. Shabbat shalom.
See the Millers in the morning.